What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekend astrology horoscope for the weekend of March 18th and the 19th of 2023. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for being here with me. Wild weekend in my life. But yeah, driving up to see Sterling this weekend and really looking forward to that. So I hope you all have a good weekend. I hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day. And as we look at the astrology for this weekend, we are going to see the sun getting ready to make its ingress into Aries. That's not going to happen just yet, but Mercury will. So we're having Mercury leave its fall position in Pisces and come into Aries, where this is definitely a weekend where we can have a lot of identification to our environments, our thoughts. Mine could have been all over the place, conversations, dreams, visions. So much abstract could have been, far out with all the Pisces energy. And Mercury coming into Aries definitely brings identification and a point, it gives us something to focus on, which is good. So we have a focus and we start to see things more clearly about environment and how to make decisions, how to go back and forth, what is defined, what is not defined. It'll be much more clear than it has been in a long time. And it's really birthing with the ingress from Mercury into Aries. It's really birthing the new identification of consciousness that your brain has gone through and what has been revealed. So not a bad thing at all. Definitely looking forward to that Mercury ingress. It's going to help us all think more clearly, especially with Mars out of shadow in Gemini. 26, 27 degrees this weekend. It's done with the squares from the sun, done with the squares from Mercury, and it is getting ready to start quincunxing that Pluto, which is only a couple days away from its ingress into Aquarius, which is going to be a palpable change in all of our lives. But this Mars is definitely a little bit more free to think and act quickly and take on more things at once. It won't be as, it might not be as chaotic. I mean, we are going to come into a dark moon. So there's a moon in Aquarius. It's trying to back this up. It is going to make a nice trine to Mars. But again, that comes from like a higher emotional intelligence and being able to see above the clouds, being able to see clearly, being able to emotionally express ourselves and identify clearly. But it could still be that there could still be a lot going on, but things are getting more identified and there is clarity, and that is the best part about this weekend until the moon does come into Pisces on Sunday. And it will make a conjunction with Saturn at 1 degree of Pisces, and it will sextile Venus and the North Node in Taurus. So remember, we do have Venus in Taurus now, and things are definitely getting a lot more real when it comes to values, relationships, all sorts of things that we relate to, but it's also so much a reflection of self-worth, value. You do have to know how to, in many ways in life, stand your ground, and I think that's where the North Node and Venus here are making things difficult. Because Rahu's intense, North Node is much more intense, and it doesn't do extremely well with Venus. Venus wants to be with the South Node. It's much more comfortable and secure there, but it's almost like we have to break things down and kind of, rebuild, especially with the square that we came off of with Pluto. So we're still kind of feeling that, and then we're trying to kind of intensely figure out what our, true value of life is and how to build that and how to build relationships that match that. And it can definitely, feel intense. But again, we have the clarity that we've been missing through the intensity. So that's where I'm looking at this weekend as a thank goodness. And even the moon Saturn in Pisces. I mean, this is where, again, there needs to be some kind of structure, some kind of boundary. Saturn wants to bring boundary into Pisces, and that doesn't necessarily work extremely well. But it is, having us try to be more empathetic, having us try to be more spiritually mature is kind of the term I've been using a lot lately, but that's true. And then it comes with the emotional side with Moon Saturn and having to make emotional decisions that are actually very sensitive decisions, very sensitive topics. Again, there's truth and clarity, but that doesn't mean that our emotions won't be in a place of kind of out there, kind of all over the place. It can feel like an ocean reality right now, and we could be feeling like we're getting tossed around a little, and it could feel as if things are a little unfair, unjust, the ocean's a funny place on this planet. Like there can be a tide going that way, a tide going this way, and we're trying to go this way, and we're going all over the place in the universe and space. Like there ain't no gravity apparently, so you just float around wherever the universe takes you. We're trying to find structure in so much uncertainty right now. It is through being sensitive and using your empathy, using your ability to relate emotionally to others, because we can feel so sensitively right now. But there still has to be some kind of a decision made with Saturn stepping up to something that has been defined and taking that on in our life. Brings its own challenges, but something that will emotionally and spiritually grow us here in Pisces and help us, relate to reality more. Help us to use our reality and our spiritual nature and our intuitive nature and our emotional nature in a more grounded way. And that's the sextile to Venus too, and the North Node in Taurus is like everything that is showing up right now is really just trying to have you feel safe and secure in your truth, in yourself, in your value, in your manifestation abilities, in your spiritual sense of self, and to build it, and to, I've even been saying this for weeks now, like we're being so tested on our security. We all want to be safe right now, but it's safe, is a weird thing because of the transformation, the shifts that's happening. There's really only one safe place, and that's, knowing your value in yourself and your worth, and you have the choice to feel safe in the midst of chaotic shifts and, evolutionary changes and growth and generational changes. Completely new energy on the 23rd when Pluto comes into Aquarius. It's going to be palpable. And it'll probably be cold. I wouldn't be surprised if, weather-wise, Aquarius is the coldest sign. I wouldn't be surprised if March and April were very, very cold. Very cold. So could possibly be more winter storms. I know California's had a lot of them, but it seems like everywhere's kind of had their unique weather, and we could definitely be seeing some more of that on another note. Just something that popped in my mind about this ingress point with Pluto from Capricorn into Aquarius. But we're all trying to find the most highest level of integrity with Pluto at 29, right on the edge here as we make the shift. It's like we need that integrity, we need that sense of structure within our souls to go into the future, whatever that may be, whatever that may look like, however cold it may seem. We have to hold that integrity, and even the moon on Saturn is like asking to be emotionally in your integrity with God, with reality, with all things, to find your security there. And it is weird before the moon goes dark in Pisces, which is kind of a weird one. It's already very sensitive. But in Aquarius, it's weird to only have the moon in Aquarius. We haven't had that in, it's been a while, a few years. So it's kind of this Lone Ranger, which is kind of singled out, which to me is like, it is so important to not be too attached right now. It's kind of getting us emotionally prepped for Pluto coming in to Aquarius at the same time. Being able to not be so attached, to detach from things, to be an observer, to be very objective about situations. It's helping, it's a little bit of pre-shadowing, because it will only be Pluto in Aquarius for a month and a half here, but even when Pluto does make its full ingress, we'll have Aquarius season and Mars will transit through there, but really it's just going to be Pluto for the most of it, So it's giving us a little precursor of this Aquarian energy. So definitely an important weekend to stay in your value. There's going to be identification, there's truth, there's environments are shifting, there's a new birth of these things, especially with Mercury coming into Aries. So as long as we can hold our value, whatever the identification that becomes so apparent, because that's the ID, that's the identification of Aries, that's it. So we get that point. It's the truth, Mercury. And to be able to be mutable and start, Mercury's a mutable planet, Aries is cardinal, to be, able to start to identify those changes and make the adaptation necessary is crucial right now. We're having to get out of attachments, and we're having to still be empathetic to situations, even though it can feel very chaotic and messy at the same time. I'm just gonna pull one card because I'm driving, and it's a random one from the middle of this deck sitting next to me. And it is the King of Cups in reverse. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is emotionally sloppy. It is, but that's okay. We're learning how to work through it. We're learning how to find our stability through weird waters, weird weather, intense emotion, changes, growth. Everything's kind of coming around to get us back on a place of emotional empowerment and stability and safety that comes there too. So it can feel like we're being a little bit tested and having to work through those waters. But I do believe we do get such an identified, situation that it's easy to see if we choose to. It's just the sun finishing in Pisces, it gets intense, and we can want to definitely repeat situations that don't need to be repeated. We've grown consciously from those, so it'll help you find your stability very much if you can find that emotional steadiness throughout the chaos. I love you all very much. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. Much love. Peace.